Good morning, everyone. All right, it is Friday. I'm so excited because the weekend is here and I don't have to work. That is very exciting for me. Oh my gosh, it is. Okay, so I don't know what I'm going to name this, so I guess you'll find out when I post it. Yeah. So yesterday I was having a conversation with an old friend of mine, and oh my gosh, we haven't talked in a long time. Like, it's been a long time. So lots of things have transpired since we last spoke, and I said, oh, this is, a really good topic for a video. I'm going to make a video of it. She's like, okay, I'll be standing by. So, and the reason why I thought it was a good subject is because it's about relationships. And why people attract the type of partners that they do attract. And even outside of partners, it's just, there's a certain theme within your life. And it starts from childhood. And this person wasn't able to see it until we had the conversation yesterday. And I mean, it is like in your face right there. But like I said, the person wasn't able to see it, and it has been happening for decades. So, relationships, and all kinds of relationships, and why they are happening. So, this individual had a very, very painful childhood. Very painful. Where there was almost no love. It was just a very cold and lonely childhood. And so there was this type of resistance that person had to develop. And when I say resistance, there's a harshness that had to be developed. But that harshness comes from not wanting to experience the pain that's present. That's why people become hard, because they don't want to feel the pain. But nobody wants to feel pain. Nobody wants to feel unloved. Nobody wants to feel anything that's unloving. So they compensate in order to not feel that hurt, that pain. So like I said, this person was like, starting from the age around 11, they were like kicked out of the house. And it was like, just go, just leave. And so there was zero concern for them from the parent. And I think by this time the mother and father had already split up. So this place was like, I mean, this person was bouncing all over the place, really, sleeping here, sleeping there. Mainly it was like with friends. And, and certain family members, but that was also here and there. But I remember, I grew up with this person, so I remember the type of individual that she was. And she was a handful, like, she was really a handful. But she was a handful because of her mother. And like I said before, we get all of the issues from our parents. All of the issues we get them from our parents at conception. So it wasn't like this person developed into this handful. This person was already within them to even be expressed. And so there was, my friend was actually a mirror for her mother. But the mother was not willing, and I think I said this before, parents are not willing to look at their children as mirrors. And so anytime that a child presents themselves as a mirror, the parent will just basically shut them out or shut them down. And so in this case, the mother literally put her out so she wouldn't have to see herself. And so this person has a brother, and the brother was treated completely in a different manner than my friend was treated. And so there wasn't any resistance. There was love, and the mother would do things for her son, whereas she would not do the same things for her daughter. And of course, this causes pain. But this is the same kind of pain, and I had asked some questions because I really didn't know the mother that well. I've met the mother before, and the mother is very cold. I said callous and cold, same thing, meaning that they are detached from the emotions. But the reason why anyone detaches from the emotions is because, why do I have the hair on? The reason why people detach from the emotions is so that they don't have to feel the pain. And so they rather have no emotions than have the emotion of pain. And so what happens is now this person is angry. And like I said, when you do not acknowledge your emotional injury, so the pain that the mother has experienced when they were a child, they're not willing to acknowledge that, then the next thing is they suppress it, so you put a level of denial on it. So that's what suppression is denying that the pain is there. And the next thing is anger, and this person is the mother is very angry. So I had asked about the dynamics of their mom with their mom, and it was the same thing. There wasn't any love. And so the mother had developed this wall, like my friend has developed a wall. And my friend is cold in some cases, but she tries not to do that to her children because she knows how it felt. And so there wasn't a clear understanding as to so there was this expectation that if my friend can look at the situation and make better decisions, then the mom can too. But that's not the case, because we all operate differently. And so we have, through our choices, through our free will, and I said this in a couple of videos ago, that we have the ability to receive something, grab that, which is energy, receive that energy, whether it's negative or anything unloving. We can take any unloving energy, grab onto it because we're receiving it, manipulate it and change it into something else and make a different decision. So you don't have to respond in like, you can respond in love. And that's what my friend is doing with her children. However, the same thing is happening with her daughter, and where she's basically a handful. And I remember my friend was a freaking handful. Like, I didn't know anyone else like her. She was the only one that I knew like the way she is. And so she didn't have any freedom, really. She was raised with, like, the mother would always have like a microscope on her and always condemning her and judging her and always finding things. So there was nothing that she could really do that was like free. Like, everything was criticized. Which is interesting because that's what she's doing to her daughter. Now, we didn't talk about this yesterday, but I saw it. I was like, okay, you're doing the same thing that your mother did to you and you didn't like it. So the same freedoms that your brother had, you were envious of this and couldn't understand why the treatment was different. But yet, the same thing is happening. But here's the thing. Your daughter, or her daughter, is the reflection of my friend. So her daughter is a reflection of my friend. And my friend is a reflection of her mother. It's the same thing. It's just happening over and over and over again. And the reason why it's in my friend's daughter is because my friend hasn't worked it out. She hasn't worked out her emotional injury, so it's going to be there. And it transferred. When she had her child, that anger, that rage, that hurt, all that unloving stuff transferred into her daughter. It's the same thing. So there's this feeling, anytime anyone has a childhood like this where there isn't any love, then they feel rejected, they feel unworthy. And these things are now locked into your soul. But they were already locked into her soul before she even started interacting with people, because she got it from her mother. But it was on an energetic level, so it's very difficult for people to see this because they don't have any physical interaction that explains why it was there. Like, why did my friend experienced what she experienced at such a young age. Why? Because it was already within her. That's why. But she doesn't have any explanation as to why. Like, what did she do to deserve this? And this is the question that many people ask themselves when they're being abused or experiencing anything that's unloving is, what did I do to deserve this? And they automatically, if they do believe in God, they're like, you know, they ask God, why? What have I done to deserve this? Why are you punishing me? And this is one of the reasons why people develop, or not people develop, but why people turn into atheists. Because they can't understand why such tragic events have taken place in their lives. They can't explain it. Because they didn't, in their mind, in their consciousness, they cannot understand what they did to deserve such a jacked up life. Such a life with such pain. So they can't understand it. Because they're trying to use logic. Physical logic. Like, they're trying to use their experiences to explain this, and they can't, because it was given to them before they, or as at conception. And so if you don't believe in God or God's laws and the universe and spirit, then you can't understand it, and it just won't make sense. And this is why people reject God, because they blame God for it, because people see God as the father, right? But that's their understanding in the beginning. Well, if God's supposed to be the dad, then dad's not taking care of me. Basically, that's what's happening. But they don't think about the free will and all these other things, and they can't. They won't allow that to happen because they need to have an explanation for this and someone to blame, because they can't see what they've done to blame themselves, because they would blame themselves, because if they don't know about this, they're going to use blame. So they would blame. There's no explanation, so they would have to go there. But anyway, going back to my friend, she has this feeling of unworthiness, and there's all these unloving things. She's not able to love herself. Then how could you? How could you love yourself when you were never loved? Like, you don't know what that is. You just know what the feeling is of pain. Go for it. Go for it. So the relationships, this person has had relationships and then have kids through these marriages, and the marriages have been the same. The marriages have been the same, except for the first marriage. But the first, I don't know if it was a marriage or a father, I don't know which one. That one was long ago, I don't know about that one. But the one where she had her first child, first two kids, I think first two kids, she was very young. But the reason why she had kids at such a young age is because she was seeking love, because she didn't have that, and she desired it a great deal. And so when you first meet someone, it's like the honeymoon phase. Like, you know, I said yesterday in my videos, like, when you first meet someone, everything's great, everyone puts their best foot forward, and then, you know, before you know it, you got children. I mean, it just happens. But she was seeking love because she didn't have it. It was such a strong desire for it, and there still is such a strong desire for it. And sometimes what parents will do is use their kids as a crutch for that love. And so I'll go into that in a little bit. But the relationships were very abusive. And they didn't start out like that, because if someone did things to you when they first met you, you wouldn't even be in a relationship with them. But you develop this connection, and you want it to work. And, you know, there's these sayings that people have where, you know, all marriages have their problems. And so this is a common belief. And so if you have a problem, people don't think anything of it. They don't look into what's going on any further, because of that saying, all marriages have problems, you just have to work it out. Stick together because it's hard out there. And they tell themselves all these different things to stay miserable. And so this relationship actually lasted, the last one actually lasted, I think, 10 years? A long time. I think 10 years. One of them was 10 years. I don't know which one. Like I said, it's been a long time since we talked. So, but 10 years is a long time. A long time. But what's more interesting is that it's been almost that long of abuse. The abuse has been happening a long time. But sometimes we have this desire for love because we don't have it, so we're looking for it from an external source. And so we're willing to experience the abuse just to have someone there. Because if you think about life at 11 years old, when you were kicked out and really didn't have anywhere to go, and then you didn't have anybody. So to have someone and have moments of just have company, to have someone there, people are willing to have that and the abuse. It's like, okay, it's worth the abuse because there's someone here. And this is a free will choice. Like, we choose. This is a choice. So the thing is, they're not together anymore. They're thinking of, calling it quits. But just think about this for a moment. The relationship is about to end based on things that have been happening over the course of years. So it's not anything new. It's realizing what has always been there. And so this is a self-love part. If you have received the abuse, the first time you received abuse should be the last time. It should be the last time. If you want to wait around for the second time, then wait around for the second time. But to put yourself in that position, there's two things that need to happen in a relationship like that. One, realize that you don't love yourself if you're going to allow someone to treat you any kind of way. First of all. And the only reason why someone's treating you that way is because you're allowing it. 10 years is a long time. So 10 years is basically the time that you've allowed. And I won't even say 10 years. Because I'm sure the honeymoon part lasted a while. But there were a lot of years that there was abuse. And so you've allowed this to happen for all those years. You, through your free will, said, okay, I'm not worth anything more, so I'm going to stay. And if you're using the kids as an excuse to stay in a relationship, you're fooling yourself. Because the kids are the ones who are seeing the energy between you two. The kids are now physically, now they already have all the junk you gave them at conception. So all that jacked up stuff, all the pain, all the anger that you have, they've gotten it already. They already have it. But now you're giving them physical reinforcement of what they carry within their soul. So you think parents think they're doing their children a favor when they stay in these abusive relationships, and they're not, because all they're learning is this is normal. This is the way it is. This is the way it is. Until they realize that, if they realize that other families don't operate like this, and then they'll look at themselves, and then they'll get depressed with like, wow, I wish I had a family like that. Wow, my mom and dad never interact like that together. They're always arguing. There's always such a disharmony in the house. So it's important to know that your actions are affecting your children. So if you're not loving yourself, you're not loving your children. And I said this before in a different video. You have to love yourself first if you're going to love your children. You have to. Don't do it for your children. Do it for you. Because if you do anything for your children, if you use your children as an excuse, you're not recognizing that which is within you that is damaged. You're not. And so that means that at a later time, when you get in a new relationship, the same thing is going to happen because you didn't learn anything. So it is so important to do it for yourself. Don't do it for your children. Don't do it. That's an illusion. That is an illusion. It's got to beat the Lexus. Woo! That felt fun, like a roller coaster. Yeah, don't do it for yourself. Do it for your kids. I mean, don't do it for yourself. Don't do it for your kids. Trust me, it will automatically change. If you say, you know what, this abuse is not cool for me, I'm going to leave, and you go somewhere else, your children are going to see that. Your children are going to see that. You did it for yourself, and the byproduct of that is now you've taught your children how to love themselves. You've taught your that's what you've taught your children. But when you just do it for your children, you don't acknowledge yourself. So it's so important to acknowledge yourself first. So within these relationships, so anyway, we were having a conversation, and she said that, you know, the person she's, you know, with right now has so many insecurities, so much pain, so much anger, because they're not accessing the emotional injury. So now the person's just angry, and this is where the abuse comes from. Well, that's the same thing with the mother. The mother has so much pain going on that she's not acknowledging it, and now she's just angry all the time. All the time. All the time. Angry, angry, angry. And it's the same thing. So since she left the mother, she's no longer living with the mom, she's getting her own, or, you know, developing her own relationships. And this is what she's getting. She's getting her mom, just in a male body. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. The same thing played out over and over. And before this relationship, there was another relationship that was exactly like it. And so you have mom being reflected to you throughout your relationships. But what's not being realized is that you're mom. You were mom. So they were telling me this story about, you know, their daughter, and, you know, what's going on, and, you know, how it's so frustrating, you know, because the daughter wants to go out and do their thing. And it was no different than my friend growing up. I mean, it was the same thing. Like, she wanted to go out and do whatever she wanted to do, and my friend sees it, and she wants to shut it down because it's a reflection of her, and it's a reminder of her childhood. And like I said, she doesn't want to acknowledge. People don't want to acknowledge this stuff. Let's see. So she said she had made this comment that, you know, or she was telling me that her daughter wanted to go out, but the daughter really wasn't being honest about where she was going and who she was going to be with. And so my friend has, like, eagle eye right now. Like, she's like, where are you? What are you doing? Da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Which is interesting, because that's basically how it was with her husband. It's the same thing. Where are you? You know, who are you talking? Who are you with? Da-da-da-da. It's the same thing. And people won't see it. They won't see it. They just think, hey, you know, I'm being a protective mom. Okay. All right. So then the husband's being a protective husband. You don't think so, right? Exactly. It's the same thing being played out. And so my friend said, you know, that, you know, there was, like, a lot of dishonesty with her daughter, and her daughter wasn't being honest, and she finally found out where she was, and she wasn't where she was supposed to be. And the daughter was just basically giving my friend the runaround about who she was with and where she was at. And so it got to a point where I guess the daughter called, because my friend said, you know, well, you're grown, you want to make your own choices, then find your way home, right? Because my friend wanted to pick her up and bring her home from wherever she was. But at that moment, she got so fed up with it, she became her mom. She became her mom. Why? Because she didn't want to feel the pain. See, when a mother is worried about their child, it's painful. The worry, the sickness that they feel in the pit of their stomach it's so intense. The worry is so great where it's hard to function. And so it's just an awful feeling when you don't know where your kid is, if they're okay, because you have so much love for them. And these are the emotions that are so strong, and they're very, very, very painful. And I can't even put into words the level of concern and worry that is felt, but I know it's felt in the pit of the stomach, and it's almost an unbearable feeling, and you don't want to feel it anymore. So depending on the person, the parent, the mother, depending on how well they're able to manage their feelings or emotions, will determine how long they put up with it. Well, the mother she couldn't put up with it. my friend's mother couldn't put up with it. So she was like, you know, get out, bye, leave, go. Just, I don't care where you go, just go. But the reason why that was done is because of the pain, the worry. Because my friend was a wild friend. Like, she was all over the freaking place. I don't deny that. I mean, I've known her and I thought she was crazy because she was all over the place. And it was like, when we were growing up, I was like, how could, like, she's like, what's going on? Because that didn't register with me. Like, that whole thing that she was doing did not register with me. I couldn't understand that life. Because I just wasn't used to it. I didn't have a mom like that. So I had complete freedom, actually. But anyway, my friend got so fed up with her daughter. She's like, you know, you grown, make your own decisions, find your way home. And so the daughter was like, well, does that mean you don't want me to come home? She's like, no, I'm not saying you can't come home, but you're going to have to find your own way since you're making your own decisions. And so she didn't know how she was going to get home. She did not know. But at that point, my friend put up the wall. The same wall that the mother put up, which is basically, you know what? I can't stress over you. I cannot take that kind of pain. So I can't care right now. I can't. So there was a psychological or a mental decision. This is all mental, where she had to cut off her feelings. Like, you know what? I can't worry. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And that's what's happening. And she literally turned into her mother at that moment. But here's the thing. What did the daughter feel? The daughter felt the exact same thing that my friend felt when her mother put her out. When my friend felt like my mother doesn't care about me, my mother doesn't love me, that's exactly what her daughter felt at that moment. My mom doesn't. I mean, kids do things all the time. They do things all the time. But during all of this that they're doing, they understand that my mom loves me. My mom loves me. My mom loves me. Even though they're doing whatever they're doing, and they're not listening to mom, there's an understanding that my mom loves me. But at that moment, when she said, find your own way home, I'm done, that hurt. It's the same pain that was felt by my friend years ago. And so it's a cycle that keeps happening over and over and over again. And in my friend's attempt to stop the cycle, she's keeping the cycle going. And it came out. It just came out. And she didn't even realize it. She did not realize that she became the very thing that caused her pain as a child. She didn't. And she doesn't know why her daughter is doing it. Well, my friend's mother didn't understand why my friend was doing it. She didn't understand it. So everything is passed down from soul to soul, and it's played out throughout all the relationships that you have in your life. So be mindful of this. Take a step back, look at the things that are going on, the interactions that you're having with your friends, your family. There's things that I've experienced with my family that come from my mother, and those things come from my grandmother, which is my mother's mother, and some of the things that came from my actual grandfather. And I learned some things about my grandfather on my mom's side, and now I understand why I am the way I am, and it kind of blows my mind because maybe I'll talk about it another time. Anyway, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. If somebody asks me a question, I'll make another video. But if not, you are loved. Bye now.